I want you to truly know that what you're about to do is as near and dear to the heart of God as it gets. The best way I can illustrate it is if, there's nobody on this earth more important to me than my wife. So if you just did something that just deeply moved her and was really good and moved her to tears, something like that, you would own me. I mean, you would get me so, I would be so in your court. I would so appreciate that. And what you're doing, number one, there's two things that are so near to the heart of God. Number one, the entire world. We know from, say, the book of Revelation that every nation, every tribe, every tongue will end up in heaven. We know from like Psalm 67, let the nations be glad. From Psalm 91, make sure that the nations know. So going to somewhere other than where you live domestically is extremely important. And we see it all the way back to the book of Acts, where God started to call his people to go on trips, both long-term, forever, and short-term. We see both of those throughout the book of Acts. So I want you to know that. Number two, it's the poor and the hurting that are as near to the heart of God as it gets. So the fact that you're giving up a portion of your summer to go and minister to people that are in an extremely difficult situation right now, that are poor, that are really in third world conditions as a result of the hurricane, and some of them live that way anyway, is an amazing thing. So you need to continually remember, this is really, really important and special to God. I wanted you to know that, number one. Number two, I wanted you to know that you will not come back the same. And you may not be this dramatic for everybody, but you may be changed forever. The first time I went overseas was in 1985. And I've never been the same. And this is 2018, I still am not the same from that trip. I can tell you sights, smells, I can tell you how I'm different, I can tell you what happened to me. In those days I thought God was calling me overseas, but it was actually confirmed that when I was there that he wasn't, but he gave me a heart for the world and for missions. And it has been a huge beat of my heart ever since. And I saw the world, I saw God in a different way, I saw his kingdom in a different way, and I truly have never been the same. To whatever degree that looks like, I assure you, you will not come back the same as when you went. Which leads me to number three. And I got a journal for everybody, and I had these bookmarks. You can look at one at least, since nobody else is here. I don't want to poke anybody in the eye with them, they're sharp. Okay, so I had at least make these up, and I told her what to put on them. And I had that little verse up there from Psalm 67, may the nations praise you, O God. Yes, may all the nations praise you. But then look what I put. Pay attention. While you're there, here's what I'm asking you to do, and I got your journals right there. Everybody takes a journal. And by the way, that's the kind of journal that I took to Europe in 1985. Same kind of cheapy journal that I took. I still have it. I can still open it up and tell you some great things. So I want you to take a journal. And while you're there, I want you to pay attention, and I want you guys to keep reminding each other to pay attention. And here's what I mean by that, two things. Number one, the never forgets. And see, I got NF next to that, like that. And here's what I do, and I really want you to do, because I want to sit down with you guys when you come back and hear some of these. You're going to get over there. It may even start when you get to the airport leaving from here or something. And you're going to see something or experience something, and you should say to yourself, I never want to forget that. So you open your journal and you write NF dash. Travis bought me a hamburger at the airport. Or you may be in Puerto Rico and listen, seriously, you might write NF. I hugged a little kid named Juan and he cried and said, please don't leave. Or NF, I got to give the gospel for the first time to somebody. Or NF, I delivered food to somebody. Whatever that is that means something to you that you never want to forget, don't forget it, and write NF in your journal, dash, and write that memory. Or, this happened in one of my devotions. They said this one morning, and this is amazing to me. I don't know why, but it just turned the lights on for me. I never want to forget it. The other one is hear him, because God will speak to you through this, through your devotions, through the people you're going to minister to, through your leaders, whatever it is. And so, when I say hear him, and I got HH there, whatever you hear him say, maybe you're going to be over there and there's something going on in your life and you just hear him saying it's time to leave that behind. And so you get in your journal and you write HH dash I can't do this anymore. HH, I need to be more important or spend more time in the Word. HH, I think he may be calling me to missions. HH, I want to come back here sometime. I'm hearing God say these things to me. When you're not going to fill that journal up, but you can also use it as a diary, and anything else you want to do in there you can do. I'm just saying, when you come back then, after your trip, you're able to sit down and look at these things and say, okay, here's my never forgets, and here's what I heard him say. And start evaluating, God, what did you do in me from this trip? And I'm telling you, it'll last forever if you do that, and you'll keep that. So I gave you these you can keep in there and keep reminding yourselves and each other of your NFs and your HH. And keep putting them down, because it'll make your trip that much more significant. Because here, listen, you're going to make a difference in people's lives over there. There's no question. There will be fruit born from your ministry. But the bigger deal about trips like this is what it does in you and with you. That's the bigger deal. And so I added Hebrews 13:16, and don't forget to do good and to share with those in need. These are the sacrifices that pleases God. You are pleasing God in this trip. And I want you to keep that before yourself. He is smiling on you this whole time. So that's my spiel. That's my 10 minutes.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
That's funny that you said that, because when I went to Haiti in 2001, that's what I took. And
Is it?
And it completely changed my view on worship. It changed my view on ministry. In 2001, and to this day, I still can close my eyes and see the mountains and smell the smells.
I know.
I love that was the same.
Exact
for you,
same
but that's
for
what
me.
I took.
Yep.